Hey, welcome back, Intermediate Algebra. Let's see if we can get through this in a little quicker time now. So, factoring quadratics with a common factor. Now, the first thing you got to understand before I put an ABC term on these is the first thing I look at is there any number or variable the three of these have in common? And in this case, they do. They have a 7 in common. So before I start doing my diamonds and rectangles, I'm actually going to take the 7 out of each term and rewrite that to be 7, parenthesis, x squared plus 4x minus 5. It's very important that you always look for this step first, okay? Once you have this in simplest form, meaning this quadratic portion in simplest form, then you can apply your A, B, and C term to it, meaning we can do our A times C for this term, our B term goes right here, we take our A term right here, and our C term right there. Hopefully by now you know what those are. Now, what are two numbers that multiply to negative 5 but add up to 4x? First of all, to multiply to a negative, I need one to be a positive and one to be a negative. And to add up to a positive, I need the positive one to be larger than the negative. So you might come up with, oh, that would be a positive 5x and a negative 1. These two, if I multiply them together, make negative 5x, while at the same time these two added together make a positive 4x. We'll then take these two, plop them right in here, and what do they have in common? Again, I like to take negatives out first. So I'm going to take these two. There's no numbers or anything in common except for a negative 1, so I'm going to take that out. These two here have an x in common. Now these two have a 5 in common, and these two have an x in common. So you're going to notice in red that 7 is still a part of my answer that I factored out of there. But also this x plus 5 and this x minus 1, so our final answer is 7 parenthesis x plus 5 parenthesis new parenthesis x minus 1. Okay, let's do one more. A little quicker this time. All right, so we're going to see what do these all have in common. Now, if there's a negative in your A term, let's take the negative out with it. That just means the other two will become the opposite of what they are. So as we do this, negative 3 comes out of here. This just becomes a negative 2x and a negative 3. They just became the opposite, but now this is much easier to work with when your first term is a positive. So now a times c is negative 3x, our b term is negative 2x, my a term goes here, my c term goes here. What are two numbers that multiply to make a negative? Remember, one's got to be a positive, one's got to be a negative, but when they add up, they need to be a negative, so the bigger one has to be the negative. So you might come up with negative 3x and positive 1x for your two terms. We'll then take these two, we'll put these right over here. Again, I like to take care of the negatives first, so these two have a negative 3 in common. These two have an x in common. These two have an x in common, and these two just simply have a 1 in common because nothing's in common other than the 1. I need this 3 to go into my answer. I need this x minus 3 in my answer, and I need that x plus 1 in my answer, and it goes right there. Hopefully that makes sense. This was a much quicker video. Good luck, guys. Bye-bye.